Hello everyone, my name is Keane and I'm going to probably be doing a few videos about movies that I've watched recently as well as music. I'm going to kind of go off the beaten track right away, and this is my second video going into a change, but I want to talk about bands that don't mean a goddamn thing to the world, including me, such as cover tune bands. However, it may seem as though I care a little bit because I'm bringing them up. I'm giving them a little bit of limelight when they don't even fucking deserve it. But they're called cover tune bands. And for people out there who don't know the difference between original bands and cover tune bands, is it's basically a group of 4 or 5 kids that usually get together, or old adults who are drinking beer and don't really have any skill, who will start up a band based upon their favorite musicians and shit who actually did make it, who are actually getting paid real money and getting TV time. They have decided that they want to play the music of that band. And usually cover tune bands are the type of guys who sit around in a fucking jerk-off circle and say, the reason why we play cover tune music is so we can get notoriety as well as attention, and then one day be able to play our tunes. Some cover tune bands even go so far as to having just a tiny bit of balls where they're willing to play maybe 2 or 3 songs of their own that they created, but they still go ahead and play something by Iron Maiden or attempt to do a shitty version of Skid Row or whatever band that they're into. And the problem with this is that when they go to do their cover tune shit, they're never going to get really good ratings. They're never going to get in the newspaper, and they're never going to get noticed. There might be some people out there who clap their hands and shit while drinking a martini or a beer who are watching, who will say something to the effect of, wow, they really pulled off Metallica To Whom the Bell Tolls really well. Except for the singer, he didn't sound anything like James Hetfield, and the guitar kind of wiped on the solo. But besides that, that's about the best a cover tune band can ever get. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that'll argue, but when Metallica first started out, they were doing cover tune songs, and they were doing shit like this. But Metallica didn't get popular until they did their first album with, guess what? They had like one punk cover tune that nobody gives a fuck about on that album. All the other songs and shit that were on the first album were very important. I believe they also did a CD just a few years back called Garage Days Incorporated. Had a lot of great songs on it, but notice it was the original songs they did that were actually noticed. They're old songs off of their albums that they did that were noticed. The cover tunes nobody really gave a fuck about. Take a look at this Bob Seger song they did, Turn the Page. Not a song that everybody's going to give a fuck about. Personally, I've listened to Bob Seger, and I think Bob Seger did a hell of a lot better at his own song than what Metallica could do. I don't even know what went through Metallica's head to try to even copy off of Bob Seger. What the fuck is that? Isn't Bob Seger the same guy who used to do songs for Chevy commercials like a Rock? I mean, what the fuck are they thinking whenever they did that shit? So cover tune bands aren't going to really get anywhere. You'll get somewhere if you do your own music and you do your own original tunes. You'll have more chance. But besides, what would you prefer when you go out on stage? Wouldn't you prefer being cheered or booed based upon the talent and skill and the work ethic that you put behind your own tunes? Or do you want to get cheered for almost sounding like Fred Mercury whenever you're doing a Queen cover tune? I mean, how can you feel good about sitting there stealing and copying off of other people's music? And most of these cover tune bands, I'm surprised that they get away with doing what they're doing. It's illegal to sit there and play this music and shit and sell it and everything else. Yet these cover tune bands, some of them will actually try to put it on their demos, their version of the song, and do it. Isn't that what we call copyright infringement? Isn't that considered fucking illegal? So what's the deal? Why are they able to do this? I really don't think that a cover tune band has what it takes. There's no band out there that has ever made it and everything that makes it on cover tunes. They can't use it. It's not like they have the resources or connection to call any of these musicians up or any of these record companies and get fucking permission to do it, unless they're already popular. Now don't get me wrong, there's a difference between cover tune bands and there's also these bands who sometimes rip pieces of a song off like Puff Daddy and shit from Sting, where he takes a little piece, loops it over and over, and then wraps a bunch of horse shit to it and stuff. Some of the only people who are successful at really doing this, which is very rare, there's only a few people out there who've been able to do a song from someone else and make it better. I have to honestly say that Whitney Houston, back in the day before crack and cocaine and some fucking idiot rapper punked her out, she did the song I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. And I think most people would admit, even the people out there who are too fucking macho to admit it was a good song, it was way better than the Dolly Parton version. Unless you're into hearing some person sing with their fucking nose held going, I will always love you. Yeah, big difference, big difference. So that's how I feel about the whole thing. Cover tune bands are shit. They're not going anywhere. Stick with the originals and work hard at it and everything. You'll feel better at the end of the night whenever you do it. You'll feel like people watched and listened to what you had and not what someone else already busted their ass doing. Thank you. You've been listening to